Hey guys, welcome in this new video. I hope that all of you are doing great. So in this video, very important, I want to talk about how to get consistent results in your trading and always kind of follow the same strategy, the same method that you use, and eventually get good results and just grow your account over time. So that is probably your goal as a trader, and in this video I will break down exactly what you need to do and the kind of mindset that you need to have to eventually achieve this result. So just before that we get into it, as always guys, please leave a like under the video. Make sure you are subscribed as well to the YouTube channel. I'm trying to say this as fast as possible so we can get into the content. Alright, so how to become consistent, right? And how can you get these type of results that you see online and that everyone seems to have? Well, first of all, not everyone has these results, right? There are actually not that many great profitable traders over the long term, so you need to listen to the right people and get the right information. That's number one. But then when you have the right information, what you need to do is to love the trading system that you are using for what it is. All right, and that's what I want to talk about in this video. So let me break this down very simply for you guys. There are different ways to trade the markets, right? Different strategies that could be profitable. Now, of course, you cannot use all of them and expect to be consistent and be profitable, right? Like you cannot use 10 different strategies and eventually get good results, because it will just be all over the place and it will just be, way too complicated. You just don't need to do this and put yourself in this situation. You need to, as I said, figure out who's good, learn from them, use their, system, and then trade with this and stick with this. Now, what do I mean by loving the system for what it is? Well, what you need to understand is that different strategies will give you different results. Not necessarily, and that's one thing as well I want to make clear. There is not necessarily a strategy that is better than another one, for example, all right? Like some strategies have better, things than others. They have pros, they have cons, but at the end of the day, all you need to make sure is that your system is profitable. That's really the only thing that matters. I mean, if you are profitable, and if you are, getting constant result in your trading, well, that's the only thing that you need to have to become profitable and make a lot of money on the long term, right? So you don't need to try to search for this kind of perfect, most amazing, beautiful strategy. Stick with what you have if it works, right? If it doesn't work, then you need to adapt, okay? But when you have a system in place, what's important is to understand the characteristic of the specific system that you are using, and then you need to accept these characteristics. And I will give you guys my own example with my own trading, and you will see how important it actually is. So my trading style is basically kind of a trend following system, we could say, where I use different tools to optimize my probabilities, such as the patterns, some technical tools, so trend lines, fib. I also use some indicators, I use fundamentals, and when I put all of these components together, what it really gives me a pretty good probability to figure out where would be the best trade possible and what trend would basically, trend for the longest period and overall give me the biggest profit. So that's kind of what I'm doing in my trading, and so that's kind of my system, right? If you want to, resume it as simple as that. Now, in this kind of system, it's important to understand what kind of results you will get with a system like this. So a trend following system is not going to be the system that gives you the highest win rate, okay? So you will not win 90% or 80% or 70% of your trades with a trend following system, or it's very unlikely and you have some type of weird strategy in the system. But if you really, use a basic trend following system that respects the basic rule of what a trend following system should be, you're probably not going to get the highest win rate possible, right? Like, so if you use another type of system, whereas you take, very small movements of, on a trend line or support resistance or things like that, you might get a higher win rate than a trend following system. So that is one characteristic. Now, another characteristic of the trend following system is that, as I said, you might not get, the biggest amount of wins. So you will take a couple of small losses, a couple of break-even trades, but the couple of positive trades that you will take, these profits will be much bigger than your losing trades. And that is also what I have in my system. So when I take a loss, I will take 0.5% loss, maybe 1% loss if it's a complete loss that went to my stop loss. So I will take, let's say between break even or 1% loss when I take a loss or when I take a break even trade. But when I get a winning trade, I will make, 3%, 4%, 5%, etc., etc. So I don't win that many trades in terms of the number. But when I win, I make a lot more money than when I lose. And that is the reason why on the long term, I'm very profitable. So I don't need to win all my trades to be profitable, right? If I win, only like 4 or 5 trades out of 10, that's already way enough for me to be profitable, because when I win, I make a lot more money than when I lose. So that is my system. Now, as I said, if you use a system with a higher win rate, well, you will probably make less money on your trades that you win. So if you win more often, well, instead of winning 3, 4, 5 times what you risk, maybe that it will only be, the same amount that you risk, or maybe 1.5 or maybe 2 to 1, right? So if you have a little higher win rate, the amount of money that you will make on your winning trades will be smaller, but you have more wins. So at the end of the day, it kind of balance each other. And that's why at the beginning I said that there's not really a system that is necessarily better than another one. You just need to learn a system, understand the characteristic of this system, and love it for what it is. Because as a trend follower, just like I said, I don't have the highest win rate, right? I know that there are systems out there that give higher win rates. But just like I said, when you win less money. So at the end of the day, it kind of balances itself. But I need to love my system for what it is. Because if I think that the grass is greener on the other side, I will try to go with this system. I will kind of change my whole methodology, just at the end of the day, probably to realize that the initial system was better and that it fits me better. And that's also something that is important for you guys to understand. You need to have a trading strategy that fits your personality. So if you don't like to trade on the lower time frame, well, don't do it. Right? It's super simple, but you need to have a system that follows and that respect who you are as a person. So for example, me, I like to have a lot of time freedom and be able to do other things. So I trade more medium long term. So that gives me a lot of time to do other things. I don't have to always worry about my trades and always kind of stick to the charts, right? I have a lot more time to think, to create great trading ideas and just do other things. That's what I like, and that's where I'm most comfortable okay? So I don't know if that was well said. Anyway, you get the point, right? So that is the idea. You need to have a system that fits who you are, and you need to love the characteristic of this system. Otherwise, you will always be tempted to go look somewhere else, and it's just not going to give you consistent result that you want. So that is how you get consistent result, guys. I don't know how to make this simpler. Like, that's really what you have to do, right? You figure out what system you want to learn, then you find someone to teach, this kind of approach, right? And then you stick to the approach, right? If you learn from someone who has good results and who has proven to have good results, well, that's it, right? You don't need to go somewhere else. You don't need to try to do something else. You just need to stick to this, take it seriously, and do it. Now, if after a very long time it doesn't work for you, well, maybe it's your fault, maybe it's not your fault. So you need to take the time to analyze your results and try to understand what's going on. But most of the time, just like I said, it's not the strategy that is broken. It's not the system that doesn't work. It's probably just you that make, some mistakes or take some trades that you should not be taking, or close too early, or get emotional. And, there are all kinds of problems that could be around a strategy, which would make the strategy not profitable. But just like I said, it's not because of the strategy in itself, it's because of how you treat it, all right? So you need to really ask yourself these questions and kind of figure out, if you're not profitable, where's the mistake, and what you should be doing, considering this to actually improve your trade. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like under it and make sure you share it around. A lot of traders need to hear this, I think, because I see so many people always kind of switching around strategies, and it's just really not good to become consistent in this industry. So on that, take care, trade with care, manage money well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.